We're still in the Sermon on the Mount, and today we're ready to start what we have as chapter 7. One of the aspects of this particular sermon, got to be honest, I think in most preaching classes, in most Bible colleges and seminaries, he would be graded down fairly severely for his lack of transition. I mean, he finishes up what we have is chapter 6 in verse 34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I'm at a season of my life where that verse, those two sentences, I need to have tattooed on the inside of my eyelids. But without any, what I can discern as a transition, Jesus goes on, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Okay, first of all, aside from the fact that Jesus offers no transition between don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow worries for itself. Every day has enough trouble for its own. And now it's just kind of like a punch in the snout. Do not judge. I was thinking about that today, actually. My wife and I have started doing what I hope we can do for a long, long time. We take a walk. It takes us about 55 minutes. Gets in about 3 miles and 2/10. I like it. It's good for my body. It's good for my soul. And I will be honest, I do not get excited about going for our walk, but I do it because I know it has value. Okay, well, we walk in our neighborhood a very long route on sidewalks, with the exception of 2 streets. One is a 4-way street that the speed limit is 40. The other is a mile over, and the speed limit there is only 35. But the other streets where the sidewalks are near where we walk are 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now, if you're in a car trying to get from point A to point B, and the speed limit is 25 miles an hour, I can attest to the fact that you wonder what in the world, why would you have to go that slow, for crying out loud? Honestly, every neighborhood that, with the exception of maybe 2 that we walk past, is a gated community. And it's not like you've got playgrounds and now, believe it or not, on the 40-mile-an-hour street, you've got a park and an elementary school. It makes plenty of sense to go slow where there are those kids, but man, that's not an issue on these streets. So, and yet, I know there are lots of kids in all of these neighborhoods. I hear them and I see them. I don't see very many vehicles doing 25 miles an hour on those streets. Most of the time, of course, I'm not carrying a radar gun, but it's easy for me to see that's not 25. And yesterday we were walking and I saw a slick, a really beautiful a Camaro convertible coming up, and he was probably doing 40. And I waved him down, and yes, it was a him. And he stopped. And I said, dude, it's 25 miles an hour here. And he said, yeah, I hope you have a great day. And, you know, it was like, yeah, that didn't matter to him. And today when I was walking and watching these vehicles, they're not all pickup trucks, but there's a lot of pickup trucks that don't, 25 means nothing to them. And I kind of wanted to, I realized nobody's elected me the speed marshal here. I don't have any, I have no authority here. And oh, by the way, I don't think I'm gonna change anybody, but at the heart, I mean, you know, okay, but at the heart of all that is this. I was judging them. And my judgment is, you just don't care. You're just that selfish. You're just that unself-aware. Your world is so small, it's all about you. That's probably not true. You know, there are people that fits, but it's not everybody, not by a long shot. I have an opinion. My opinion is, and I've come to this opinion in the last 13 years, and with very few exceptions, I've observed this in my own life and driving. You don't need to go any above the speed limit. And I mean, there are emergencies. If you've got an emergency, then take care of the emergency. But me being late to an appointment is not an emergency. That's called poor planning or poor discipline. Thinking, there's nobody here. What? I haven't seen a cop here. I've been in this neighborhood for a year and a half, and I've not seen a single Las Vegas Metro police officer, car, or a motorcycle on our streets, period. So there's no cops. Why would it matter? Well, it matters because somebody decided 25 miles an hour would be the limit of speed here. Okay, that's my choices. And oh, by the way, I think I could do a big long thing here, but I'll just say, if you do the math, if you just take a few minutes and do the math, you're going from point A to point B, and now we're talking 10 miles or less. If you do the mathematics on how fast going the speed limit will get you there, as opposed to exceeding the speed limit by 5 miles per hour, it's seconds, not minutes. Anyway, okay. I had been judging these people. That's where I was trying to go with this. And then the thought occurred to me, you know, there have been those times when, number one, I wasn't paying attention. You know, I just was going, looked down, I was at 35 in a 25 mile an hour zone. So, okay, slow it down. But it wasn't like, I wasn't thinking, well, I'm above the law and go whatever speed I want to go. Oh, and that is not what, I don't think that's what most of the people were thinking. So, okay, here's what I have come to. And I came to it just today. My opinion, I feel I have a valid opinion. I feel that if it's a 25 mile an hour speed limit, go 25. I feel that's a valid opinion. But the question becomes, where does my opinion become judgmental? A whole lot of the anger and division, the rancor that you and I observe in our world today is the result of people being judgmental about their opinions. Okay. Well, Jesus says, don't judge. Just don't. Okay. Yeah, but aren't there times when I need to make a judgment call? And I think that's the answer to that is yes. There are right and there are wrong things. And we have to be able to make the call between what is right and what is wrong. But I don't think that's what Jesus is talking about. He's not talking about observing and then living within the distinctions between right and wrong. I think what he's talking about is what we more often, the garden variety judgmentalism. And this is a very significant aspect of this whole idea. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. See, here one of my struggles with judging is, since I'm the smartest guy I know, which is so not true, but there is this little voice in my head that keeps yakking that way, right? Whatever I think has got to be right, and I'm making this judgment. Well, here's a problem with that. If I'm going to use whatever standard I'm using for judging someone else is going to be used against me. Okay. I believe that God judges us on the basis of two things: love and justice. John the Apostle wrote that Jesus came full of grace and truth. And I think that is essentially the same thing as justice and love. You've got truth, which doesn't change. It doesn't wobble. It doesn't vacillate. Truth is truth. And a big part of the difficulties that we're experiencing in our world today have been the result of a postmodernist view that says there is no such thing as absolute truth. There's your truth and there's my truth. And honestly, that's bull. I would use stronger language, but I respect you and don't want to be offensive. There is only, if it's true, it's true. Jesus was full of truth and grace. The truth can be applied in a variety of different ways. Judgment can be applied in many different ways. When God judges his children, he judges them by grace. And so I have this issue in my own life. How do I train myself to judge others with grace? Because that's how I want to be judged. Maybe it really was just a crummy day. Maybe I had a little bit of a touch of the bug. Maybe my blood sugar was was bad. Maybe I got excuses and alibis. But that person probably also has excuses and alibis. Jesus is not saying here, just a suggestion, but do your best and don't judge others. No, he's saying don't judge others. because the standard you use and the way you judge, it's going to come right back to you. That's big stuff. And he's not done. He keeps going, but I'm way out of time. So I'll see you next time on Soul Care with Stevie Boy.